Well, here it is, the 25th day of April. On the 13th, Friday the 13th, we were up here trying to till this field up. When we planted the bottom clover fields, the top up here was too wet. And I want to take you around and show you the soil right now before we go back over it. You've got to have, with this small seed, you can't be in this click an app society. Just because you want to plant it today and you hit the app button, don't mean jack out in Mother Nature. If the conditions aren't right, it's deleted until the conditions get right. And some people waste their money and their time when they plant into soils that aren't conducive to be planted in. I'm going to take you around and show you what I'm talking about. Now, as you look down at this soil, this would be a good seed bed to plant in. It's pretty much uniform. And all you have to do is look over yonder and you'll see these big wet clods. And this is what you cannot plant your seed plot, food plot in. You can't have clods like that because they're going to break up ununiformly and they're going to bury the seed too much. Now this has been done 12 days ago. And I'll walk back here where it was even wetter at. Now this is where it was really wet. You had big clods. I mean, there's still some moisture in here, but we've had some heat and it's dried up. But you cannot plant a perennial seed in a seed bed this rough. I mean, it's no other word, it'd be vulgar. But you know, like I say, so many people I don't even know how they hunt today. They have no patience. And like I said, if you would have planted your seed, that seed would have fell down underneath that big clod and been buried way too deep. Because seeds, like, you know, the smaller the seed, the less muscle it has. You put a piece of corn in there, it's a pretty big seed. It's got a lot of poop in its pants. It'll push up through there. But if you get over into this ground like this, and it's disted up like that, this is a no-go. That's why on Friday the 13th we couldn't do that. Now, we're going to walk this field after we pulverize it, and you'll see the texture that will be uniform and conducive to plant your clovers, your perennial alpha rack type seeds. But this stuff, all these gullies, this has to be smoothed out. And this was part default because of the leaves, and they held the moisture in here, which is a good thing, especially if you needed the moisture. But it's a bad thing when you do the tillage. But you're going to run into that when you're into timber. Now you notice we're surrounded by timber. So when you plant food plots in timber, you're planting them in an area that's not, you've got to have as much perfect as you can get. Because it's not really conducive to be planting in here. You have the shade issue. You have the wind that doesn't flow over the ground. And if you're out in the open, you don't have that problem. Because you got plenty of direct sunlight. You know, about 14 hours. But when you get back here in the timber where you want to plant these hidden plots, you're going to be faced with a special problem. And that's going to take patience. And you're going to have to know your soil. And you're going to have to know when to work it and when to leave it alone. So let's get after it. show you something firsthand right here. It's a little chilly out this morning. I thought it was going to rain. I had to put my shirt back on. Okay, here's what we're looking for. Nice uniform. All we have to do is move over. Ununiform. That's just one pass. You can see that the good tillage, and this needs to be tilled more. And the nice thing about when we did that when it was wet and left it alone, that breaks up just like flower bed dirt. And that's what's needed for that small seed. Now you can do this several different ways, but it has to be done. If you have to have a drag behind a four-wheeler or whatever your tillage equipment is, but you cannot plant in this kind of condition right here. It has to be a seed bed like that. Now you're going to see the advantage of letting that dry out. You're actually going to see dust rolling on this, which have been 12 days ago. You couldn't have got dust on this field because it was too wet. So let's make some dust roll. Well, I think you've seen the dust roll. Now, it seems like a lot of work on these perennials, but you got to remember something. If you do these right, these will last for 5 years, 5 to 6 years. So you have a lot of work on the front end, but the perennial is worth it because of the longevity of it. Done right, you'll get your money's worth. Probably got dust on the lens of the camera. So anyhow, I just wanted to demonstrate in 12 days how dry it got here from when it was just turning up mud. Well, we got this tilled up, and I want to take you and show you proper seed bed. Now, when you can get on the dirt, and you can make a snow angel, nice dust, loose dirt. It's nice and loose. That's how you want it. All uniform. We'll walk up through it. Remember the clods? They're all gone. All uniform. Dried for 12 days. You can pick up a little residue. The leaf matter's worked in. That'll turn to organic matter. Plus it'll help in erosion control. And make sure when you're on these hills, go across the hill. That's called contour plowing or farming. They don't teach that. They don't teach that in schools no more. They teach more millennial management and whatever they teach. I don't know. They don't even teach handwriting. But I learned contour plowing probably back in the 5th grade or 6th grade. Plow sideways on a hill, and that way the water's coming down. That will slow it down. Just a few little ridges in there, not many. So, and like I said, we've taken all this cloddy dirt and we turned it into a real good seed bed. It's soft. I can kick the dirt. It's loose. But you put your foot on it, it'll leave a footprint. So it's not overly, it's been disced, tore up, and ready to put the seed on. Now, this slope, high ground, this is a perfect spot for your alpha rack with the alfalfa. So, like I said, we had to wait 12 days. The window is from March to the 1st of May on planting this, and so we're in that window. Some of you guys up north might be a little late on that, but this is the proper seed bed though, as you can see. It's all uniform, and it'll work real good. So let's get cranking the seed on. Make sure when you put that seed on, it's at the lowest rate. It's going to take you several passes to get it on uniformly. Just don't start cranking it on. This is what happens sometimes. The cedar broke. Lucky I got another one on hand. We can switch it out. Things that'll happen in the field. Yeah, lucky for me, I had another cedar here to go to. You want to set these cedars on about, they say, an 8. If you look in there, you notice it's clear closed. So we'll set it up. Really small seed, so you want to set it on a real small setting. They recommend about 1/8 of an inch. We got it set. Lucky we had 2 cedars on site. Yeah, I tell you. Sometimes if it can go wrong, it just seems like it's mandatory to go wrong anymore. Yeah. Huh. I don't know what broke here. Something came off. But we'll have to figure it out. Looks like a screw come out of there, but anyhow, it's important. You might as well have 2 of them. If I hadn't had 2, I'd be done. So let's get to cranking it on with the other cedar. You can see my feet print in that new soil. So now you see me walk north and south. Now we want to walk east and west. It's really critical that you do north, south, east, and west. And we still got a lot of seed in the bag. But that way we know we used it all without having it real strong in certain areas and none in others. So north, south, east, and west. Okay, here's the last step. Now if you don't have a pulverizer and it's too wet, you leave the seed alone and you leave it on top. But being as it's just dry, I'm going to run the pulverizer over it, and all it's going to do is press it down. But you don't take a drag over it, because a drag will drag it too deep in the ground. All the pulverizer is going to do is basically press it onto the ground. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's dry out right now, and I want to make good soil with seed contact. I'm going to show you. You can see that little blue seed down there? They're really small. And you can see them right there on top of the ground after the pulverizer ran over them. That's all you want to do. You do not want to drag them into the dirt. Now, if we go out in front out here, you'll see the seed. There's the seed. Right there at the end of my fingers. All you're going to do is press that onto the ground. That's all. It won't be covered. That pulverizer will just have enough weight to push it down into the ground. And like I said, the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to get a big rain on this powder and really blow it out of there. And so with this final step with the pulverizer, that's what that's about. Do not drag it if you have a drag, because I guarantee you'll bury it too deep. Because you're going to see seed on the ground when you're done with these small seeds. That's the way they're supposed to be. Yeah, remember when we got that pulverizer and made a 3-point hitch out of it? That's been a day or 2 ago. So let's get the pulverizing. That's what your plot's supposed to look like. Nice, smooth collar pack, and like I said, you can still see the seed on top, but it's been pressed down. It's not rocket science, but there is some technique to it. Well, that pretty much will put a wrap on it. Make sure your soil is ready to be tilled. On April 13th, it was too wet. We had to wait until April 25th to get the right amount of moisture. Like I say, it's real critical to have the perfect conditions on these perennial seed beds because the seed is so small. And a lot of people ask me, well, why did I go with Whitetail Institute? Because I put too much damn work into it to put some inferior so-called celebrity face packaged seed on the ground, because all they're doing, the amount of work they do is take photo ops. This is real work, and I'm going to put the real deal down for my dollar and my labor. That's it from the non-typical Norwalkian. Best of luck to you. You guys up north, you got your work cut out. You might have to wait and go with bulk annuals. So either way, you're giving back. So let's get this done and get out of here.